Nora is a gentle soul in her early 70s, a retired schoolteacher who has always been the heart of her family. She lives quietly in a small town, surrounded by the laughter of grandchildren and the comfort of familiar routines. But lately, Nora had been feeling something she could no longer ignore, a subtle but persistent fatigue that seemed to drain her strength day by day. It started with just a little breathlessness when climbing stairs, then occasional dizzy spells that left her frightened and confused. One afternoon, after a brief wobble while reaching for a loaf of bread in her kitchen, she felt a sharp warning deep inside. It was her body's way of saying something isn't right anymore. Her doctor's words echoed in her mind after a recent checkup. "Nora, your blood sugar levels are higher than they should be, and your heart isn't as strong as it once was. But the good news is, with the right changes, you can regain your vitality." Those words planted a seed of hope, but also a sense of urgency. Nora knew she couldn't ignore the warning signs any longer. The daily food she had trusted, like that familiar loaf of bread sitting on her counter, were no longer innocent. They had quietly become obstacles on her path to good health. What followed was the beginning of a transformation journey, one that Nora embraced with both caution and courage. She began to learn not just about foods, but about how her body had changed over the years, especially after 60. The gentle metabolism that once burned effortlessly had slowed, and her digestive system was less forgiving. She discovered that not all breads are created equal, that some could actually accelerate aging, weaken muscles, and raise the risk of memory loss. But others held the power to heal, to nourish, and to restore energy. Slowly, Nora shifted her mindset from resignation to empowerment. It wasn't about strict diets or overwhelming restrictions. It was about making thoughtful choices, one bite at a time. She started paying attention to the labels she once ignored, seeking breads made from sprouted grains or slow-fermented sourdough, breads that respected the wisdom of nature rather than the shortcuts of industry. These changes brought subtle but meaningful improvements. Her energy returned in small waves, the fog in her mind began to lift. Even her family noticed a lighter step and a brighter smile. Nora's story is not just about bread, it's about reclaiming independence and joy in the later chapters of life. It's a reminder that aging does not have to mean surrendering to decline. The foods we choose every day can either accelerate wear and tear or become allies in preserving strength, clarity, and vitality. For Nora, and for so many like her, the path forward is illuminated by knowledge, care, and a gentle shift toward what truly nourishes. As we explore this journey together, I want you to imagine Nora's kitchen, her small but vibrant world where each loaf she chooses carries weight beyond taste. Imagine the quiet determination it takes to replace old habits with new ones that honor the body's changing needs. This story, like Nora's life, is filled with hope, not just for longer years, but for better quality in every single one. So let's walk this path carefully, learning which breads can harm and which can heal, helping us all to thrive well after 60. Nora's mornings used to start with a simple ritual, a slice of bread toasted just right, spread lightly with butter or jam, enjoyed slowly with a cup of tea. It was comforting, familiar, a quiet moment of peace before the day began. But as her body started sending subtle warnings, aches in her joints, an unsteady balance, creeping forgetfulness, she began to wonder if that comfort was quietly betraying her. One afternoon, while chatting with her daughter, Nora learned something unsettling. Not all breads were the same. Some, especially the soft white sandwich breads she had favored for decades, might be doing more harm than good. Her daughter, who had been researching senior nutrition, shared a surprising fact. White bread, despite its fluffy appeal, often lacks the nutrients Nora's aging body desperately needed. The refining process stripped away much of the vitamins and minerals, leaving behind what doctors sometimes call empty calories. Worse still, white bread's high glycemic index caused sharp spikes in blood sugar, which over time could damage not just the pancreas, but also the heart and brain. Nora imagined those sharp spikes as invisible storms inside her body, chipping away at the strength she wished to preserve. That evening, Nora sat quietly, reflecting on the bread in her kitchen. The loaves she'd bought so habitually suddenly looked very different. She felt a mix of regret and determination. Regret for the years she hadn't questioned these choices, and determination to learn more. Her doctor's voice rang in her ears. "Every bite counts, especially now. Your body needs food that heals, not harms. This was the first gentle nudge toward a new awareness, realizing that everyday foods could either support or sabotage her health. It was the moment Nora started to see food not just as nourishment, but as medicine. After that quiet evening of reflection, Nora dove deeper into understanding her food choices. She discovered something that puzzled her. The multi-grain bread she had switched to, thinking it was healthier, might not be what it seemed. The label proudly declared multi-grain, evoking images of wholesome, natural grains. Yet behind that promise often hid refined flours and additives that did little to help her aging body. This realization came as a surprise, even a disappointment. Nora had believed she was making a better choice. Her grandson, a young nutrition enthusiast, helped explain that the term multigrain was not regulated, meaning manufacturers could use mostly white flour and just a small sprinkle of other grains to claim it. Worse, many multigrain breads contained emulsifiers and dough conditioners, chemical ingredients designed to improve texture and shelf life, but that could interfere with digestion and nutrient absorption, especially in seniors. Nora pictured her digestive system, already slower and more sensitive with age, struggling quietly with these hidden additives. This new understanding stirred mixed emotions in Nora: frustration at being misled, concern for her health, but also a flicker of hope. She began to see the importance of reading labels carefully, not trusting packaging claims alone. More than that, she felt empowered knowing she could choose breads made from 100% whole grains, free from mysterious additives. Her doctor's advice echoed again: choose simple, whole ingredients your body recognizes. It makes a world of difference. Nora shared this insight with her close friends at the weekly book club, finding that many had similar stories of confusion and surprise. The conversation brought a comforting sense of solidarity. They were all learning together how to nourish bodies that had served them faithfully for decades. For Nora, this moment marked a shift from passive acceptance to active questioning, a vital step toward reclaiming control over her health and well-being. Nora's kitchen began to feel like a small laboratory of discovery. After learning about hidden dangers in common breads, she was eager to find something truly nourishing, something that could restore rather than deplete her strength. One afternoon, her daughter brought home a loaf of sourdough bread from a local bakery, explaining how it was made through a slow fermentation process, unlike the fast industrial breads Nora was used to. The loaf looked rustic and inviting, with a tangy aroma that filled the room and sparked a sense of curiosity in Nora. As she took her first bite, Nora was surprised by how different it tasted, more complex, more alive. But what truly captivated her was learning why sourdough was special. The natural fermentation broke down gluten proteins, making it easier for her aging digestive system to handle. More importantly, the beneficial bacteria produced during the process helped balance her gut flora, a key to reducing inflammation and boosting immunity. Her doctor had once mentioned how a healthy gut could influence everything from mood to memory, and now Nora saw this in a new light. This realization felt like a small victory. It wasn't just about avoiding harm anymore, it was about inviting healing into her daily life. Nora began to imagine her gut as a garden, fragile but capable of blooming again with the right care. The simple act of choosing sourdough bread became a ritual of kindness toward her body, a gentle affirmation that she was worthy of good health, even as the years advanced. Her family noticed subtle changes too. Nora seemed more energetic, more present. Mealtimes grew warmer, filled with stories and laughter as they shared the discovery of foods that supported not just survival, but joy. For Nora, sourdough was more than bread. It was a symbol of hope, patience, and the slow but steady journey of healing. Nora's journey deepened as she encountered another revelation: sprouted grain bread. This was unlike anything she had tried before. The bakery owner explained that sprouted grains were seeds allowed to germinate before being ground into flour, unlocking nutrients that regular grains couldn't offer. Intrigued, Nora took a cautious bite, savoring the subtle nuttiness and denser texture. It felt wholesome, honest, like food crafted with care rather than convenience. What touched Nora most was learning how sprouted grains helped her body absorb vital nutrients better, especially vitamin B12 and iron, nutrients she knew were crucial for seniors but often hard to digest. The sprouting process also reduced anti-nutrients that usually blocked mineral absorption, making each bite more healing than the last. She remembered her doctor's words about how aging stomachs produced less acid, making it tougher to get enough nourishment. Sprouted grain bread felt like a gentle gift, crafted by nature to help bodies like hers thrive. As Nora incorporated this bread into her meals, she noticed small but meaningful changes. The bloating and discomfort she once felt after eating seemed to fade, replaced by a quiet comfort in her gut. More energy followed, subtle at first, then steadily growing. This newfound ease gave Nora a sense of freedom, a reminder that good health was still within reach and that her body responded lovingly to kindness. Nora shared this discovery with her close friends, who eagerly joined her in trying sprouted grain bread. Their weekly gatherings became celebrations of learning and renewal, filled with encouragement and laughter. For Nora, embracing sprouted grains wasn't just about nutrition, it was about reclaiming vitality and connection, weaving health into the fabric of everyday life. Nora's curiosity and commitment to better health led her to a loaf she had never heard of before, Ezekiel bread. Her granddaughter, who had recently studied nutrition, excitedly told her about it. Made from a blend of sprouted wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and spelt, Ezekiel bread was said to be a complete protein source, unlike most other breads. Nora was intrigued by the idea that a simple loaf could pack such a powerful nutritional punch, especially for someone her age who needed every bit of strength she could get. She started incorporating Ezekiel bread into her meals, toasting it lightly and pairing it with almond butter or fresh veggies. Each bite felt hearty and satisfying. More than that, Nora noticed how this bread seemed to help regulate her blood sugar better than any she had tried before. She remembered the unsettling warnings about sugar spikes and their role in accelerating aging and illness. With Ezekiel bread's low glycemic index, Nora felt she was giving her body a break from that exhausting cycle. What made this bread even more special to Nora was how it connected her to ancient wisdom. Recipes rooted in biblical times, carefully preserved and rediscovered. It gave her a sense of continuity, a feeling that she was nourishing not just her body, but also her spirit. Her doctor had once spoken about reducing inflammation as a key to preventing many age-related diseases, and Nora felt she was taking a meaningful step toward that goal with every slice. Her family noticed a renewed vitality in her, and Nora herself felt a quiet pride. This bread, humble in appearance but rich in benefits, became a symbol of her ongoing journey, a testament to the idea that aging didn't mean giving up, but learning and adapting. With Ezekiel bread on her table, Nora was not just surviving, she was growing stronger every day. Nora's journey through breads of all kinds eventually led her to what she now calls the cornerstone of her new way of eating, 100% whole grain bread. Unlike the imposters that clutter supermarket shelves, this bread was honest and simple. Every grain was intact, full of fiber, vitamins, and healthy fats, the parts of the grain that nourish the body deeply. When she first held a dense loaf in her hands, she felt connected to generations before her, who had relied on nature's whole gifts to thrive. What truly moved Nora was learning how this bread had been scientifically proven to extend life and improve quality of life for seniors like her. Studies showed that those who ate genuine whole grain bread daily lived longer and suffered fewer heart attacks, strokes, and diabetes. She thought about all the years she had unknowingly chosen less nourishing options, and yet here was hope in the form of something as simple as a loaf of bread. Eating this bread became a ritual of respect for her body's wisdom and respect for the journey she was on. She enjoyed it lightly toasted, paired with eggs or Greek yogurt, savoring each bite not just for flavor but for the strength it gave her muscles and mind. Her family gathered around the table more often now, sharing meals that felt alive with possibility and health. For Nora, choosing 100% whole grain bread was more than a dietary decision. It was a gift to herself, a promise to nurture the years ahead with care and intention. Aging no longer felt like a decline, but a season of renewal where each choice could light the way toward vitality. As she looks toward the future, Nora feels grateful for knowledge, for family, and for the simple but powerful loaf of bread that helps her live fully every day. Nora never imagined that something as ordinary as bread could hold such power over her health and happiness. As her energy returned and her mind cleared, she felt a growing desire to share what she had learned, not just with her family, but with her community. At her weekly book club, she began telling stories about her journey, the hidden dangers she uncovered, and the nourishing breads that had transformed her life. Friends listened with wide eyes and eager hearts, many confessing they too struggled with confusion over what to eat. This sharing became a source of joy and purpose for Nora. She saw how knowledge could ripple outward, helping others reclaim control over their own health. It wasn't about preaching or lecturing, but about gently opening doors, inviting curiosity, and offering hope. Watching her friends try new breads, discover renewed energy, and feel lighter in spirit filled Nora with a profound sense of connection. Her doctor, too, celebrated her progress. "Nora, you are living proof that small, consistent changes can have enormous impact," he said during a recent visit. She smiled, feeling both humbled and proud. This was more than a health journey. It was a journey of resilience, love, and rediscovery. For anyone watching today, Nora's story is a reminder that it's never too late to start caring for yourself in new ways. The choices we make, one slice, one meal at a time, can build a foundation for years filled with strength, clarity, and joy. Nora's table is set and the loaf is whole, nourishing not just her body but her spirit. And now it can nourish yours too. As Nora's journey unfolded, she realized that changing her bread was just the beginning of a larger transformation. It wasn't only about what she ate, but how she approached aging itself. She began to see her body not as a fragile vessel to be feared, but as a resilient friend deserving kindness and respect. This shift in mindset opened her to new experiences, gentle walks in the morning sun, moments of quiet meditation, and reconnecting with old hobbies that filled her with joy. Her family noticed the difference too. Nora's renewed spirit inspired them to re-examine their own habits, sparking conversations about health, longevity, and happiness around the dinner table. They shared recipes, swapped stories of trial and error, and celebrated each small victory together. For Nora, this community of care was as vital as the nourishing food she chose. She understood now that real health was holistic, body, mind, and heart intertwined. The bread she ate symbolized this unity, a reminder that the simplest changes ripple outward, transforming lives in ways no one could predict. As the seasons changed, so did Nora's sense of purpose. Aging was no longer a countdown, but a continuous journey of growth, filled with hope and possibility. Her story invites each of us to embrace change gently, to listen deeply to our bodies, and to nourish ourselves with compassion, because sometimes the smallest loaf can carry the biggest message, that every day holds the promise of new strength and renewed life. Looking back on her journey, Nora often marveled at how something so ordinary as changing the bread she ate had reshaped her entire outlook on aging and health. The quiet moments spent choosing loaves made from whole grains, sprouted seeds, and slow fermentation were more than dietary decisions. They became acts of self-love and resilience. She found strength not just in her muscles, but in her spirit, knowing she was actively shaping the quality of her years ahead. Nora's story is a testament to the power each of us holds, the power to choose, to learn, and to grow, no matter our age. It reminds us that health isn't about perfection or sacrifice, but about kindness and respect for the body that carries us through life's journey. The changes may begin in the kitchen, but their effects ripple through every part of our being, nourishing our minds, lifting our moods, and deepening our connections. For anyone watching, Nora's experience offers hope and encouragement. The path to better health can start today with a single mindful choice. And like Nora, you might discover that those choices don't just sustain you, they empower you to live fully and joyfully every step of the way. As Nora's story comes full circle, she often thinks about the simple moments that changed everything. A loaf of bread, a thoughtful choice, a renewed hope. Aging no longer feels like a series of losses, but a chance to embrace wisdom and care in new ways. Each slice of bread she now chooses is a symbol of that care, a daily reminder that she deserves nourishment that supports her body and spirit. The journey wasn't always easy. It took patience, learning, and a willingness to let go of old habits. But Nora found that with every step forward, she gained more than just better health. She gained confidence, joy, and a deeper connection to herself and those she loves. Her story is a quiet celebration of resilience, a testament to the power of small changes that ripple outward into a fuller, richer life. For all who watch, Nora's experience is an invitation to look closely at the foods you choose, to listen to your body's wisdom, and to embrace the possibilities that come with caring for yourself deeply. Because sometimes the simplest acts, like choosing the right bread, can nourish a lifetime of health and happiness. As we come to the end of Nora's story, it's clear that her journey was about much more than just changing the type of bread she ate. Through simple but powerful choices, Nora transformed not only her diet, but also her relationship with her own health. From unknowingly consuming breads that accelerated aging and inflammation, she shifted toward nourishing options like sourdough, sprouted grain, Ezekiel, and 100% whole grain breads, each choice bringing her renewed energy, clearer mind, and a greater sense of well-being. This wasn't just a physical transformation, it was a reclaiming of hope and control, a gentle awakening to the profound impact of everyday decisions. Nora's experience invites each of us to pause and reflect. How often do we accept familiar habits without questioning whether they truly serve us, especially as our bodies change with age? It's never too late to start making mindful changes, to choose foods that heal instead of harm. Just like Nora, small shifts, one slice of bread at a time, can ripple through our lives, improving strength, cognition, and quality of life in ways we might never have imagined. If you take anything away from Nora's story, let it be this: health is a lifelong journey, one that deserves patience, kindness, and curiosity. The foods we choose daily are powerful tools, not only sustaining life, but shaping how well we live it. So today, consider the breads on your table and the choices you can make to support your body's needs. Your future self will thank you. Remember, aging is not a sentence to decline, but an opportunity for renewal. Like Nora, you have the strength to rewrite your story, nourish your body, and embrace the vibrant life waiting ahead. The path may begin simply with a loaf of bread, but its impact can be profound and lasting. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Here's to your health, happiness, and the many nourishing choices yet to come.